What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be reviewing a very interesting book. Tonight I Burn by Katherine J Adams. Now with this book, I have this book on my October to be read book pile for the month. I know we're in November now, but it took me a while to get through the book. I rate this book 4 out of 10 stars for multiple reasons, and I want to explain a little bit more on why I rated this book this way. So one of the positive things I liked about this book is the way that the author wrote the characters. This story is about Penny, who is a thorn witch, and she's part of this coven that guards the veil, and the veil is between life and death, and they have one person who's doing that job. And we follow Penny, and she has a couple of sisters. Specifically, one of them, her name is Ella, and it was her turn to be patrolling, and one day she crossed the veil and she never returned, and Penny's trying to figure out what happened to her. This book is character driven, so you're following specifically Penny and what's happening to her and the world around her specifically. So some of the issues I personally have with this book is that I find certain information that the author is presenting in this book a bit confusing and also contradicting. What I mean by this is that there are certain pieces of information that happens and being told to you as the reader before the 200-page mark that explains a bit about the world. Like I said earlier, it's very character driven, so it's not much given about the world around Penny. Unfortunately, one of the aspects that falls flat specifically to me is the magic system, which is very interesting, but it's not enough to give an understanding of like what is actually happening and how is this world functioning. It does not explain exactly what it is like. It's not giving me any explanations of what's going on and things like that. In this world, they don't really explain if there's a level of protection or barrier or cage or something that it's obtaining these people in, or if it's free country kind of thing where people can just simply leave, but they're bound to honor or respect or social expectations. The book does not really clarify any of this about the world that we're looking at in the story. A really good example of what I'm talking about is I've reviewed a book called Blood Over Brighthaven, which I'll link in the card up there so you can check it out yourself. In that book, it talks about a world where it's inside a barrier, right? But it's been layered in such a way that you understand, oh, so there's this big barrier around the city that is actually keeping people in. This book, it does not explain that, so I'm already finding a lot of confusion here. And there is nothing bad about it. I think the book's explaining of specifically the characters is really good, but there is a lot of holes around certain information that it's not being presented. And not only that, when it does present a piece of information about the world, then later on the book or somewhere throughout the book, it gets contradicted with another piece of information. We follow this rule because it explains this thing, and then by the time we get to this other new thing, kind of just go, nope, forget about the first thing, we're gonna go with the second thing. And I was like, okay, doesn't matter, we're just going to continue here. And then by the time I get to the end of the book, I was left with so many questions and the book did not give me any answers. When it comes to series, or it doesn't matter how many books in the series it is, every book needs to have a plot-driven device that makes you want to go, okay, I want to have more understanding of this specific plot point in book 2. Like you mentioned in book 1 or book 2 or whatever, and you want to expand it onto the next book. This book, however, does not do that. It gives you certain points of information and you're like, okay, interesting. Where is the answers to this plot device that has been said here? And the answer never comes. And then by the time at the end of book 1, I'm sitting here also thinking, is this truly the end of book 1? That doesn't make sense. You're not giving me a lot, and you're giving me barely anything, to the point that I don't even feel like as a reader I want to continue. I will continue to book 2 because I still like the characters. I like what Penny is going for, what she's trying to do, and things like that of that nature. Also, the main character is bisexual too, so I love that. There is another book I've read which is called Night in the Moth, which I will link it also up there as well. The Night in the Moth is a really good example of something similar to this, where the main character is bisexual and there's like a whole thing going on with that romance department. However, the Night in the Moth, the main character is having a male love interest. In this book, she has two love interests, a male and a female. And this is what stuck to the 4-star rating system for me personally. And that is because her love interest is a woman, and they bonded throughout the book really, really nicely. The male love interest, I have so many questions because the book doesn't seem to give them a good bonding connection. This leads me to my last point, which is that with this book, if you are someone who seems to love the concept of what I've just explained, what the story is about, and a little bit of details here and there, I definitely encourage you to read it, even though I do not like certain aspects of the book and my rating system being so low. I'm being a bit harsh because I feel like the book could have done so much more for a first book in the series. This whole book series is a trilogy, and if book 2 does not explain or give me an actual understanding to why all of this is happening, I'm gonna DNF the whole series entirely. If it does seem to go well, I will continue reviewing it until the 3rd book. Now, that being said, the book itself is really interesting with the characters as well. There's a lot of really interesting characters, and the fact that the author brings a lot of interesting things to the table with certain people. However, I will say this. There are certain aspects of the book I disagree on because it feels like it's not the characters themselves in some aspects. Stay tuned for the next book in the series review. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done that already. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!